Hey there. So today is day 5. We made it to Friday, and today we're talking about alcohol, sleep, and stress. So we track alcohol differently than what's on the nutrition label for the alcohol. And we do this because when we consume alcohol, our body actually burns and metabolizes alcohol first instead of burning fat, which is kind of what we're trying to do in our bodies. So you can see that consuming, a lot of alcohol can slow your progress towards fat loss. One thing that I love most about this program is that nothing's off limits. Everything is in bounds. But we want you to learn how good your body can feel when you put food and drinks into it that makes it feel good. One thing I've learned as I've kind of aged is that the hangovers get worse. So this past January, I decided it wasn't worth it to me to drink as much because it was making me feel terrible. And that terrible feeling took most of the fun out of it. So, I kind of cut back in January and I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I certainly still love a drink, but it has helped me feel better. So throughout this program, we're going to encourage you to limit your alcohol, but also don't be afraid to enjoy a drink or two on occasion. Again, we're trying to create a sustainable and practical lifestyle. So let's talk about tracking alcohol. How we track our alcohol is different, and you can track it 3 different ways. We're going to get into a little bit of math, so hang with me. We can track it as a carb in our apps. We can track it as a fat, or we can track it as a combination of carbs and fat. Because your body is always going to metabolize and burn off the alcohol before it goes to our fat or our carbs, it is considered a 4th macro, alcohol is. So when you look at that barcode or that nutrition label, it doesn't account for the actual alcohol that is what our body is going to be metabolizing first. So we have to track it differently. And in this case, we're going to be looking at the total calories. Now, this is the only time that we ever pay attention to calories in this program because that's what we need to kind of determine our formula. So let's look at how we would track 120 calorie vodka soda with lime. If you track it as a carb, the first way, the formula will take the total calories in the alcohol and divide it by 4. So 120 calories divided by 4 is 30. You would track 30 grams of carbs for that one drink. So let's look at it the second way. How would you track the same drink as a fat? If you track it as a fat, the formula is going to be the total calories, 120, divided by 9. So 120 divided by 9 is 13.3. So you would track 13.3 grams of fat for that one drink. Now, if you want to track it as a carb, again, you divide it by 4. If you want to track it as a fat, divide the calories by 9. The third option I mentioned is tracking it as a combination of some fat and some carbs, which is a little bit more complicated, but it might be one that you want to learn because you're more than likely going to have some fat and some carbs left in your day for alcohol versus having a bunch of one or the other. So first, you want to take your calories again. So we take our 120 and we divide it by 2. Our vodka soda with lime is 120 calories divided by 2. We're going to get a new number that we start from, 60. And we will determine the fat and the carbs from this new number. So after you divide it in half, now it's where you start. Divide 60 by 4 to get your carbs and so that equals 15. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So you're going to track 15 carbs plus, going back to that number 60, divide 60 by 9 to get the fats. So again, we're still using the 9 and the 4 for carbs, 9 for fats. So 60 divided by 9 is 6.7 grams of fat. So you would track this as a quick add in your app. You'd plug in 15 grams of carbs and 6.7 grams of fat and enjoy. You can set up some of your favorite drinks kind of as custom meals or foods in your app. And to help you kind of plan and track more easily versus recreating and redoing the formula every time. So even though it sounds complicated, it is a really important component so that we're tracking our alcohol correctly. Because if we just scan the barcode, again, it's not going to be accurate. especially because especially do these 6 weeks because of what we talked about in the beginning of the video. If you have alcohol in your body, it has to burn the alcohol first before it can move on to burning fat. And we want our body to burn fat as much as possible so that we can see the progress and we can feel better. Now, I'm not here to tell you to give up alcohol, not by any stretch of the imagination. That is a very individual choice, and you have to do what's best for you and what makes you feel good. And what makes you, it's how you have fun. For me, I have cut way back because it was important to me. I still love a cocktail, a glass of wine. I still crave a beer. I mean, I do love alcohol, but I want you to be mindful of your consumption. So try to limit it over these next 6 weeks and see how you feel. And when you drink, please track it so that you can truly see how it's contributing to your macros. We want an accurate reflection. I mean, if you don't track in your app, that doesn't mean that your body is not tracking what you're putting in it. So don't think you're getting by if you don't put it down in your app. And we want our bodies to burn fat and get those results. But again, progress, not perfection. We are building a sustainable, non-extreme, non-fad life. And alcohol is part of it. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the importance of sleep. Now, there's a reason why you always hear how important sleep is. Pretty much every doctor would put that at the top of the list of importance. The same is true with a faster way. Sleep is essential to achieving our best overall health, and it's critical to turning your body into a fat burner, believe it or not. We want to focus on both quality and quantity of sleep on a very consistent basis. When you have poor sleep or not enough sleep, your body will release the stress hormone cortisol. And some cortisol is okay, but when cortisol levels are high, it's going to store and hang on to fat because in a very high stress state, it's trying to protect itself. That's kind of a defense mechanism that our body has. So also without good quality sleep, your hunger hormones get out of whack. You think you're hungry for that midnight snack when you're really not. Your ghrelin, which is a hormone, and your leptin those are the two key hormones kind of interacting here. Your ghrelin will signal to your body that it's hungry and it needs to eat. Your leptin tells your body that it's full and satisfied. Without good sleep, these two hormones get all mixed up and all out of whack. And you kind of fall into bad habits of, the midnight snack. So take a look at your sleep habits. Where can you improve? Maybe you set an alarm on your phone to remind you it's time to go to bed. Maybe you try to put your phone or your computer down at least 30 minutes or an hour before bed to keep your eyes from being exposed to the blue light. When you wake up in the morning, try to get some sunshine or try grounding. There's a lot of benefits to those things. So what goes along with poor sleep is that increase to stress, that cortisol in our body. When our bodies are stressed, again, it releases the cortisol, and more cortisol in our body leads to us holding on to fat. So you might be, doing a lot of things right, but if you're not able to manage and control stress, you're not going to be seeing the full benefits of this program. You've got to get good sleep to help regulate that stress hormone. But we all know there's just all kinds of stress in our lives, certainly over these last couple of years with the pandemic. So, some stress is prolonged, over a long period of time, and sometimes it comes in bursts and dissipates. And, when we have that chronic stress and the cortisol levels are really high, that's when it can just wreck your body. Things like, increased blood sugar, increased sugar cravings, reducing the ability to burn fat, increasing fat storage rates. Those are all effects of increased cortisol in our body. But you know what? Some stress is actually good, but we have to actively manage stress to avoid those constant high levels of cortisol. That's what we don't want. A great stress reliever in the faster way to fat loss are the workouts. Before this program, I wasn't working out like at all. I was starting to do a little bit of working out and I thought I was feeling better, but I had no idea how much better I could feel. You're going to be amazed at how 30 minutes can just clear and reset your mental state. And doing this consistently has so many benefits in addition to that lean muscle you're building. It's going to help you sleep. It's going to help your mood, your irritability, your motivation for some of the other goals in your daily life. Getting up for me in the morning and working out first thing makes me so much more motivated for the rest of the day. Okay, so let's wrap up. We've covered several things. First, how alcohol fits and how you track it. Refer to your formulas and and I'm going to put it in the website and also my Instagram for tips here. And reach out, especially those first few times that you're getting the hang of tracking alcohol, and I'll help you. Second, the importance of sleep. How we need to really be intentional about getting better sleep. And that can be hard, but let's try to set an intention for the next 6 weeks to really try to prioritize our sleep. Intermittent fasting and workouts are going to really help out a great deal with getting better sleep. While our bodies sleep and we're resting, we're actually building our muscles from our workouts. Rest is a critical piece of our kind of workout regime, and restful sleep is critical to actually creating those lean muscles that we're doing during the workouts. And the third point was the impacts of prolonged and chronic stress on our body, and how chronic stress can really get in the way of all the things we're trying to do to turn our bodies into fat burners. So look at what's causing stress into your life and think about, what are some actionable things that I can do to reduce it? What help do I need to ask for? What do I need to change in my daily, routines? Think about how we can reduce stress. All right, thank you all. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for hanging with me on this journey. Reach out to me and to the group with any questions and thoughts on today about what we learned. Talk soon.